Hi, I'm Liam and this is the Uncommon Podcast.
G'day, I'm Mike and this is Uncommon.
This podcast is brought to you by Neuralle Media. Are you an entrepreneur or marketer who needs help making podcasts, video or animation? Perhaps you don't have time to manage a freelancer or the budget to deal with an agency. Well, Neuralle Media can help you with simple and affordable content creation, saving you time and money by taking away the pain of producing that content. To learn more, head to neuralle.com/media. That's neuralle.com/media. Play around with our pricing or request a callback directly. Listeners to the show receive a special discount by using the promo code UNCOMMON. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon. My name's Jordan Michaelides and I'm your host. In this episode, I have for you Northborders and Seventh Era, or Mike and Liam as they're commonly known. Two photographers and YouTubers who are based in Melbourne, Australia. These two are easily some of the most talented creatives in this space, so I couldn't help but want to get them in for a roundtable, sort of chat on all things photography. Unsurprisingly, they're both part of a new generation ditching university degrees to focus on real-world experience, which accelerates their further potential in the process. This episode was a great one. We covered a lot, including selecting Instagram names, how they met each other, how they got into photography, ditching uni and traveling instead, photogenic phones and their presets, YouTube and collaborations, and their go-to kits. If you like the episode, leave us a rating on your podcast app, particularly if you want a shout out next week. Also, starting from this week, we have a special promo for our listeners. As part of Gary's trip last week, we had a case of Empathy wine prepared. So now that we have all these bottles left over, we have a competition for 4 people to snap up their very own bottle of Empathy's latest release of rosé wine. The winners can either choose to get it posted to them directly, or if you live locally, you can come visit us at our studio in Melbourne. To enter, just check out our posts on Instagram and social media as well. If you like the episode, do share with your friends, take a screenshot or share on your Instagram story tagging at @uncommon_podcast. To watch the episode in full, as always, search Uncommon Podcast on YouTube and don't forget to like and subscribe. Show notes and all previous guests are at neuralle.com/podcasts. With that being said, thanks for listening. I hope you'll enjoy this conversation with Northborders and Seventh Era. Gents, we're here.
Hello.
Finally.
I know. I love how you scheduled this in like 2.5 months ago.
Yeah, well, we have to, man. Like, we've got a lot of, I think we're going to Japan in October.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got just a lot, like we just have, I don't know. We pitch a lot of people and then they come back really quick. I'm always surprised by it. I always freak out. Like if I don't have, interviews booked for 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance, I go pitch a bunch of people and then all of a sudden they all come back and you've got like basically 2 months booked in.
Oh my God, yeah. I totally remember that.
We're actually booked out to November because we'll be away in October. We've got one interview in Tokyo.
What? How are you going to do that?
I was going to say, how are you going to do that?
We're going to have to take our kit over.
The whole kit?
It's a one-on-one, so I'll just take one mic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I might use my traveller mics. I used to use sort of Samson Q7s. They're like sort of singer microphones. Works pretty well with the H6, and then we've just got 2... I'd say we take 2 camcorders.
I'm sure all this would probably pack up pretty reasonably.
It'll pack up well. We just need a bag for it. I don't actually have a bag for it.
Yeah.
Do you guys like carry much kit around with you all day?
No, we're very light travellers.
Yeah. That's the one
backpack.
thing.
Whole life's in a backpack.
Just try keep it like all in the one thing. Otherwise, there's that one extra thing at the airport that you're going to have to carry.
Yeah.
Like never bring a laptop bag. Like laptop bags are like a no-go for me. Yeah. I just put it in my camera bag.
And is it an ordinary backpack or a specific photography
It's like a camera bag. Yeah, it's like a camera backpack. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you need it and then just put some dividers in it and you just divide up your lenses and your camera and your headphones and whatever, computer chargers, then you have like a computer pocket.
Now, one thing I was thinking about you guys when I was doing the research, I feel like you spoke about it, Liam, but I couldn't find it anywhere, is how you selected your name.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Now, one thing I find interesting is that a lot of these Instagram photographers have a really like a standout name.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's not their own name. It's a designated name. Sort of like a porn star in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
It is.
So
It's a second persona. Yeah.
Tell me about why is that, first of all, and how do you select your name?
Okay, I think we both have like a really similar story, but you go first.
So pretty much this is like when I was starting photography, I was really inspired by certain photographers, and there was this one guy, and his name was Night.Shift.
Okay.
And I was like, that looks sick. Like, I want my name to be 2 words with a dot in between. So I knew that I wanted it to be that. So what I did was I compiled 2 word lists, just random words.
That's right.
Just 2 random word lists of words that I liked. So there was, I think one was like double check. Like, I was like, that sounds cool, because at that time, what was really popular was being like, this was probably
2014,
2015.
Yeah.
What was really cool on Instagram, like, to be a photographer who was like, you didn't show your face. You were just like unknown, like anonymous photographer who was putting out all these
dope photos, and everyone
no
was
one
like,
knew who you were.
guy?
Everyone
Like you're
was
a
like,
street
that was
artist in a
sick.
way.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
Kind of,
well, exactly.
yeah, like an online artist, like a street artist. Yep.
Yeah, so then I eventually got to 7th year, and I'm like, that sounds dope, whatever. And then that's how I got my name.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the story. Yeah.
And then I didn't jump on a word generator for my name. I actually saw someone like, because I've always been into cars. So I was following like this group or whatever. I can't even remember what they called themselves, but they were driving a bunch of like cool exotic cars around the Alps, or around North Europe or somewhere around there, right? And they were on like they took a photo on this massive landscape of mountains, and they had all the cars parked there. Like they were up on a rock, and they shot down on the road, and then there's all the mountains in the background, and the cars lined up there. And there was 6 cars or something. Half the cars were on one side of this yellow border, and then the other 3 cars were on the other side of the border, right? And so you had like whatever, that border, I guess, was, between 2 states, and they captioned the photo. This photo was taken north of the border. And I was like, north of the border? That sounds kind of cool. And I was like, originally I thought my name was going to be like, I tried to make it the Northborders.
Okay.
And I went on Instagram. I'm the Northborders. Yeah. So, and then I was like, nah, it doesn't quite like roll off the tongue like quite as I would like it to. And like, I wasn't really even looking for a name or something, but at the time I was still looking at all the people on Instagram, because
it was so popular at that time.
There was people like called Trash Hand and Night Shift, Costin, this guy called First, like his literal Instagram name was 1T, like ST, 1ST,
Really?
First, like that was his. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Like, I want a cool Instagram name as well.
Yeah.
And this is before I met Liam.
Yeah, same.
We both had the same
knew each other.
idea.
Yeah,
like
it was like so popular at the time to do that. Like, everyone wanted a dope name just to put out dope photos. Yeah.
Wow.
So what I did was I jumped on Instagram and I typed in Northborders, and it was taken. You know, back in the day, like, I haven't changed my name on Instagram for so long, so I don't even remember what it even looked like in the day. But it just came up with a massive red X. I'm not sure if it's free. It came up with a green tick. Back in the day, like that's what happened. Yeah, and it just came up with an X. I'm like, fuck, someone's got Northborders. So I typed it actually in, and another photographer was already called Northborders, and he had like 4,500 followers. And I'm like, fuck, that is so many followers. Like, I'm never gonna get that many followers. That's ridiculous. I'm not even gonna pursue photography for that long to even get to that stage. So I was like, nah, fucking whatever. I'll take the S off and I put an underscore on. I'm Northborder underscore for now.
Wow.
And then when you search up someone's name on Instagram, and like they've changed their name, but you type in their old account name without you knowing what their new one is, but their new account still pops up. Still the same person, but they've got a new name.
But sometimes it says user not found, and then it redirects you.
Yeah, something like that. So something like that happened to me, and the guy changed his name from Northborders to something else, sort of AV something or whatever. And I was like, all right, done. Took the underscore off, put the S on. I'm fucking Northborders now. That's where it came from.
How long ago was that?
4 years ago, at least 4 years ago, maybe even longer.
That was a big question. So you mentioned before you knew Liam. How did the two of you guys meet?
All right, this was 3 years ago.
This is really funny, actually. Yeah, I think maybe
pull that mic just in a bit more. You want to basically be if it's too short, you can pull it up.
Pull it up.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, don't let your schnoz hit it though.
Yeah, my schnoz, my big wog schnoz.
I've got the big Greek schnoz.
We all got the big schnoz.
We all got it, mate. Yeah. We were like before. We were like, I wonder if Jordan's got some spanakopita for him.
I should do that. Should I? Little welcoming party. Some
coffees. That's very not Australian. We go to anyone's Australian's house and they're like, so do you guys want to like not eat and we'll just do something else instead and forget.
That's a weird thing growing up, isn't it? You go around to you sort of you wog friends' houses versus your Aussie friends, and when your friends come over and like because I remember my mum's Aussie and my dad's Greek, and so it was so different even going to my mates' houses where both their parents were Greek. Yeah. Like the food situation was like ours was pretty good, but theirs was like
like full on catering service.
Like you're full after that meal.
Full catering service. Yeah.
And then there's dessert, and there's coffee for some reason, like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
anyway, so how
we met? So at the time I was experimenting with like Photoshop edits. So
yeah, that's right.
I took this photo of Flinders Street Station during sunset, and I just watched this movie called District 9. Have you seen it?
No, District 9.
So I have this,
brilliant film.
It's like that mothership, right? You know that where all the aliens or whatever they are, they go to that. Okay. So I actually photoshopped that over Flinders Street Station, and at the time I was like, "That's sick! Like this is such a cool shot." And it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I thought it was cool because when I saw that, I was looking for someone to take photos with because I'd never really even been into the city at this point. So I was only photographing around my area, and I just got my first wide angle lens. So I just learned how to I just learned about lenses and stuff with photography, and I was like, oh, wide angle, this is my life now. Yeah. I know nothing else now. Like wide everything. I shoot everything wide now.
Yeah.
And
how hipster of you.
Yeah. So I uploaded that photo to Instagram, whatever, like a week or so, whatever, and then eventually Mike.
And then I'm on the other side. I'm looking for someone to take photos with, and I see Seventh Era pop up, and I was like, oh, this guy seems pretty cool. He shoots cars. Like he went to a car meet once.
This is like the first one and only car meet I went. I uploaded like 10 photos from it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. He's into cars. Like, oh, cool. He does Photoshop stuff like me because I was doing like similar stuff to Liam. Like we were doing like
crazy
similar edits,
Photoshop edits,
and then just doing weird shit like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna message him. And I'm like, hey, bro, like, and I had no idea, like, you know, how old he was, where he lived, or anything about. I didn't know what you looked like or anything, right?
Because we were still at that stage where we were just anonymous. This is the anonymous stage where you don't show
over the face.
Yeah, like seventh year Northborders stage,
And I sent Liam a message. And I was like, hey, bro, like, do you want to go into the city or something and we can go take photos together? It's going to be sick. And we were like, what, 16 or something?
What did he say?
All right, so pretty much what happened, I saw the message. I'm like, cool. Like, this guy wants to shoot. Because at that point, I had only shot with my other mate. It was just like one other mate. I hadn't really shot with that many other photographers. So I see this guy. I'm like, Northborders, he wants to shoot. That's cool. But like, this, like, Northborders, does that mean he's from, like, northern suburbs? Like, is he going to be dodgy? So I thought...
We live 10 minutes away.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time, right? I thought he was, like, some dodgy guy. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to meet up with him, but I'm going to bring my mate. So I met up with him.
I tried to roll him or something.
Yeah, just in case, like, I didn't know who he was. Northborders, maybe he's from, like, the northern suburbs. So I bring my mate, and then we met up, and it was fine. We just started talking about photography stuff, and then... it was a good shoot. I still remember that one shot we took, like...
Yeah, I've got photo. If you go down our feeds, like from years ago, like right down there, you'll see how, my first photo I ever took of Liam, and that was on the night that we met up with. And I actually later found out that his mate that he brought along wouldn't have done anything if I tried to roll him.
No way.
His mate that he brought along wouldn't have even tried to stop him.
He just would have run.
Apparently,
It's funny. It's quite amazing how social media can do that for us, like to connect you with someone who's so like-minded.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's why Instagram's so good. But,
do you remember like where were you guys shooting for that first shoot?
I remember it was around. So Southern Cross Station.
Yeah,
there was a bit of construction going on behind there. So there was this building.
There was steps.
Yeah,
big steps
on the Spencer Street side, or the Dockland side.
No, it's Spencer Street side.
Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Huge construction site. It was like being built, and Mike got this photo of me where he was like squatting down, getting a low angle shot, and I was holding my camera out, and because he was shooting on full frame, I was still on a crop sensor camera. So he had a full frame, a Nikon D810.
Yeah, I had a Nikon.
We'll get into that.
Anyway, so we were shooting. We took this shot, and he showed me this photo that he'd just taken. Then I was like, how did that photo pick up all that light? Because how full frames are way better at night versus a crop sensor. Because my current camera, I couldn't take photos at night. I'd have to have a tripod and do a long exposure.
And what type of camera was it?
It's a full frame. So it's like a better camera. It's good. It's really good for night photography because it can pick up light, like in low light situations, it can pick up light. So it shows me this photo. I'm like, that is awesome. I want a full frame camera.
Yeah.
So then like, I think maybe half a year later, I bought my first full frame. And that's when
you really step up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you buy a full frame camera, like it's a big investment. Like the cheapest you can buy a full frame for now would probably be like $1,500, maybe $2,000.
Yeah, just for the body.
For the body.
Yeah.
You know, like that's,
Let alone
that's a
lenses.
serious amount of money if you're getting into photography. Like, that's you're jumping ship, you know what I mean?
At
Like,
that age as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, it's
Especially-
16. Like,
yeah,
that was all
like-
that money. Like,
That's why I saved up for that 6 months. I saved up for a full frame and then I got it and I was like, this is the best. Yeah.
we'd like
Did you get the same model as him?
No, I got,
newer
there was
one.
a newer one, but it was like slightly less expensive. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting
Okay.
that
Yeah,
one.
they like made because it wasn't the like 800 series because there was like a 700 series.
It's just
They
a
got-
different
800
series,
was
yeah.
the better version. Now they've updated that to the D850. I don't know how their numbers work. It
Yeah, I
makes
don't
no
know.
It
sense.
never makes any sense.
No, it literally makes
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. But anyway,
How did you individually get into photography?
okay. Probably would have been how old am I now? 28 years ago now.
Okay.
Started through actually riding scooters, but we weren't filming that yet. My voice just broke. Cut that out. No, I was riding scooters, and I go over to Adelaide quite a bit because my grandparents are there.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, for some reason, I forgot to pack my scooter into my dad's suitcase because it would fold up. And I was like 11 years old, 12 years old at this point. And I was like, Dad, I forgot my fucking scooter. Like, I didn't say that, but something along those lines of, I forgot my scooter. I was really devastated. And my auntie went out and we were like, we'll go to Big W and we'll buy you like a skateboard or a replacement for now, like while you're in Adelaide. So I was in Adelaide for like a couple of weeks over Christmas and I really wanted to ride my new scooter. My auntie was like, what about we buy you a skateboard? It's $30. And I was like, yeah, you know what? All right, because at the time, Skate 3 had just come out. I'm not sure if you've ever played Skate 3.
I played Tony Hawk.
It's similar to that.
Yeah.
Similar to that, but it's like a bit more realistic in like the terms of like the way that your body moves and the way you flick your skateboard around. But Skate, like it was a great game. And that just came out and I've been playing like a lot of skateboarding videos. I'm like, you know what? Like maybe I'll give skateboarding a shot. And we bought this, skateboard and I was playing around with it. It's like started to learn how to ollie and try and do flip tricks and stuff like that. And I really got into it actually. And we got to go into the skate park and brought it back to Melbourne. And I really, really like loved skating and stuff. And then later I found out about longboarding. And then this is obviously well before I met Liam, but I have another mate called Lamont who lives across the road from me. And we've been best friends since in primary
He's
school.
the other guy in all of our videos.
I've seen him crop up here
The
and
Asian
there.
dude, yeah.
The tall Asian bloke. And we've grown up together and stuff. Because literally on the other side of the road from me. And so I was like, Lamont, we have to get into skateboarding now. Like that's the shit now. Like fuck scooters.
Okay.
Scooters are shit. And we start making fun of scooters now. And then so we bought longboards after trick skateboards, and we bought like full on downhill skateboards. And I was about 12, 13 years old, and we started. What we wanted to do was like ride down hills. And do that kind of stuff, and like
and you wanted to
around.
film it. I'm guessing.
And then we like started wanting to film it. And my first actual ever camera was my mum's flip camera. Do you guys ever remember
on
flip?
your phone, like a phone.
A phone?
No, it's a camera that looks like a phone, right? But it's called a flip. And if you search it up later, it's got a little screen up here and it's got a red button here for record.
Okay.
And you literally
It's a video camera.
It's a video camera, but it's in the shape of a phone.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really interesting camera.
Do you remember the who made it? Like, what was the
Flip?
Flip.
That's what it's called. The flip camera. The flip camera. Flip. That's what it's called.
And it was like a fad, yeah? And it might have lasted for a few years and then
maybe
it went away.
Yeah, they made their money and fucked off maybe, but that was it. Yeah, it was like, it wasn't great footage. Like you'd be better off filming on like, an iPod, which we did end up switching to.
Really?
And then we were like, all right, we're getting a bit better at skating, which we weren't very good at. But we thought we were like, the best in Australia, the best skaters, as you all do as kids and everything. We're like, we need to start filming like more of this and put it out on YouTube. And we made a YouTube channel called Sherwood Skateboards. And that's and we called it that because that was the hill that we skated down, called Sherwood Street.
Oh, okay.
And that was the hill that we loved to skate. And so we called it Sherwood Skateboards after the street name. And we decided to buy like a Nikon D3200. That was our first DSLR camera.
Okay.
Like my first proper camera, that interchangeable lens camera. And we all chipped in for it. And that was our camera that we used or whatever to film our skateboarding and everything.
Wow.
And then from then on, our skateboarding group, because we had like 5 or 6 of our mates in there, and then you know how you grow up and you stop talking to other people, like people change schools or get into different interests and stuff, and we slowly stepped away from skateboarding a bit more, and I actually really got into graffiti and just vandalizing shit. This is still at the time when about 15 years old.
Yeah.
Just spray paint anything. That was like what I like to do, to be honest. Just rebelling, and then started hanging around with like those kind of people, which aren't a really great crowd to be around. And then we would just go out at night and just vandalize shit, and just like we'd go like break into train yards and cut open fences and stuff, and just wherever we could get our like little tags up, whatever. I'm not even going to say what my tag is in case the wrong person's watching this. But we used to just go and like spray paint stuff, and then I started like taking photos of it. And I actually really enjoyed taking photos more than actually vandalizing stuff. Not because I thought I was doing something bad, but because I actually liked using the camera. I just ended up using the camera way more and more. And I was like, you know what? Eventually I got to a stage where I was like, graffiti is not going to get you anywhere in life, but photography might be able to get you somewhere in life, because that's like a actual job. Spray painting walls is not a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like so against the law.
Unless you're very creative and very good at it.
But even still, like that's like just such a super small market to break into, and I wasn't that at all. Like I wasn't that kind of creative. Like
So you went through that stage, and then this is sort of around the time
I met Liam and started doing long exposures and wanted to go into the city and take photos, and then kind of snowballed from there.
What about yourself?
My story is not that long. I know Mike likes to give every detail, but it's good. It gets you in the story, gets you in the zone. When I think I was about 12, 13, so similar age. I remember I went camping every single year with my family, and I remember there was these really nice sunsets, and my mum had just got an iPhone, and that had a pretty good camera on it.
Okay.
It was an iPhone 5.
I haven't heard this story.
Yeah, I think it was like an iPhone 5. This is like a bit more detail. There's a bit more backstory to this one.
Good, I've influenced you a bit. That's good.
And I just take photos of the sunsets, and I'm like, this is sick. And you can edit a photo on your iPhone with those filters that are in there. And I put like it looks so disgusting now, but like I was like, look, you can do different filters. Like this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I kept doing that. I was playing around with like taking a close-up photo of a glass, like just getting depth, bokeh, all that sort of stuff. Just trying out the different types of photography.
Yeah.
Like when we'd go out to a restaurant, I'd take photos of that. Like I just use my mum's camera.
So you bring along your camera?
No, it was my mum's camera. It was my
mum's,
not even camera, iPhone. So I'd just always be like, Mum, can I take a photo of this, like on your camera, on your iPhone?
Mum, hey.
Yeah, literally.
What did your parents think? Have you ever spoken to them about it?
Sort of. I think Mum, as all mums, she's like, yeah, you're so creative. You're such a good boy.
You're so good.
Yeah. So she was like, she thought it was cool. But then I think maybe my dad started noticing it. And then one year for Christmas, I think I still believed in Santa at this point. I don't know how. Oh, wait. Well, no. I didn't, but my sister did, because I have a younger sister.
Okay, yeah.
And we had to like keep up the whole thing that Santa's real and everything. So Santa got me a Nikon D7100 for Christmas, which is a pretty good first camera. Can't complain.
Yeah.
And I just started playing around with it. I remember I did this shot of a glass. This is like one of my most memorable photos I've ever taken, because it was the first time I'd ever done long exposure photography. So what I did, it was in the cellar at my nonna's house, I remember. I got an IKEA glass, I filled it up with water, and I put it on the table, right? Shut all the doors, it was fully dark because it's a cellar, turned the light off, and then I rest my camera there, and I'm like, all right, I had no idea about long exposures. I don't even know how I got to this point in the cellar with the glass, right? And I had a little torch, right? And I put the camera down, line it up with the glass. I'm like, all right, I'm going to try long exposure. I'm going to try 10 seconds. So scroll it down to 10 seconds. Everything's right. The camera's set up. So
I can't believe you know like this shot in so much detail.
Dude, because this is the first
moment.
This is like so memorable. So I take the shot, and then as the shutter goes off, I go behind the glass and I just start waving this like torch around the glass. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this, like, the shutter's still open. And then when I hear it shut, I'm like, all right, that must be the photo. Like, I think, I don't know. This is like early days. So I go behind the camera, I look at it, I'm like, what the fuck? That is awesome. So what had actually happened was, because the shutter was open for the whole time, there was just this like light painting of just all this cool like torchlight that was just behind this cup, and it just lit it up. I think
it would have gone through the reflection of the glass.
Yeah,
as
it was
well.
just refracting and everything. I was like, this is amazing. And then from that point, I started doing more long exposures. I did steel wool photography, which I'm just about to release a video about. I did more night photography, and then I'd go into the city. And do you know the lens, a 50mm lens? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a good street photography lens. And pretty much I'd go every weekend just to do street photography, because as I did it more, I loved it. Like, it was cool just capturing the moment, going up to people, taking photos. And then eventually that's like around the point where I met Mike.
Yeah.
And now we're here
And
on a podcast.
How did you guys go from that point to moving into the Sony series and this really becoming something where you went, fuck, like we have a career in this. We're not going to go to uni. We're not going to bother getting some stupid student debt.
Yeah.
Tell us about that stage to then.
The Sony stage happened after we actually decided that, funny enough. We did our first our trip together where one week, I think I was 17. I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I was 17.
You were
as well.
we were both 17.
I think we were 16, bro.
Maybe I was 16 and you were 17. I can't remember. We were under 18. That's the point we're trying to get at. And we were like, do you want to go to Sydney? This is when we were like, just us two though. This is our first trip
We were
by
like,
ourselves
dude,
ever.
Sydney, like by ourselves. I was like, you sure, man? Like,
Sydney,
are we allowed to do this? Like,
that's I gotta ask my mum. And like my dad, like I couldn't tell my dad because at this point, like my dad, like you know how like you have like a helicopter mum. No offense to, sorry dad, but like you're a bit like more overprotective than mum is. Like I gotta just put it out there that my dad, like, you know, which is a great thing.
we love you, Mario.
Yeah, I love you, dad. But you know, he's like he was a bit overprotective, like from what I noticed, like looking back onto my younger years, like he always wanted to know where I was, like what time you coming home. But mum never really gave a fuck.
What's his background?
He's Italian.
Yeah.
So mum's Serbian.
I've got a Greek dad, and he was like that. And if I was ever like home past like 11 p.m, like I'd find all sorts of ways to get past that. But he he was just like ruthless.
But if you got caught out, mate,
you're fucked.
Yeah, you're actually fucked. The amount of times my Xbox got threatened to go into the pool was ridiculous.
What did you tell him?
Nintendo's going back. My dad used to take the Nintendo and PlayStation into his work because he owns a business, and that was like the worst thing ever because like he had a safe there. Like, that thing was not coming back because he'd forget about it.
Oh,
I remember my brother, his Game Boy got taken to work and didn't come back for 3 years.
What?
I remember my dad caught me playing Grand Theft Auto 4 when I was like really young, and he confiscated it, and I never saw that game ever again until I was like of age to go and buy it. Like literally, only a couple of years ago where I bought the game again. I asked Dad, hey Dad, whatever happened to that Grand Theft Auto game you confiscated off me? He goes, I snapped the disc. I'm like, you fucking why would you do that?
That's so funny.
That's what happens. Yeah. But,
going back, you went to Sydney.
Yeah, so that's right. We went to Sydney, and I can't even remember because I had to make up a story for my dad. Right, because I couldn't tell my dad I was going to Sydney by myself, like just with me and Liam. Like, no way. Like, I think I said I was going up to the snow. I'm pretty sure that's what. I've got so many lies that I can't remember which lie I said. So I'm really sorry, Dad, but I can't remember what I told you. But we weren't in Sydney, that's for sure. Like, according to my dad, my mum knew. And so, what did you tell your mum?
I just said I'm going to Sydney. She's like, cool, have fun.
She had an older brother as well.
Yeah,
and Nicholas
so I'm the middle child. So
yeah,
we went up there. This was like when we did that night photography shoot.
Yeah, but when we got there, it was actually really funny because we were underage and we had accommodation booked. They needed the CID. And because we could both grow beards at that time because of the wog gene in us and stuff. And so I grew my beard out for 2 months knowing this. That's how long ago we planned to go to Sydney. We're like, we'll plan. Now it's like next week. You all right? Do you want to go like LA? Like, yeah, done. But I heard that car go past. I can't now lost thought.
We were lining up to like check into this place that we're going to. And Mike's like, all right, I'll go up because I've got a beard, right? They'll think I'm over 18 to like check in. So he goes up and they're like, can we see your ID? He's like, fuck.
He didn't have ID on the plane.
Yeah, he's like, I left my wallet on the plane. But then what I did, because at the time I had my brother's fake ID, or not my brother's fake ID, my brother's
his
real
ID.
ID.
Yeah.
And he was, I think it said he was like, no, he was 20 at the time, and I was what were
He was
we?
19.
Oh, he was
19.
19.
19
at the time. So then I hand the ID. It works. Like I'm like, what? Because we did not look similar at all in the photo.
Really?
Yeah, because he had like longer hair and I had short hair, like this hair. And I was like,
Maybe
no
that's
way.
why it worked, because I remember I had a fake ID when I was 16. It was a guy who was 34.
What?
And he had dreadlocks. But I had a shaved head at the time, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
And you know what got rid of it? My old man got it, and he chopped it up. He's
damn
like,
it.
you're committing fraud.
Yeah, you're committing it. Typical.
Yeah,
Vlog
he
dad.
cracked it, like, because my
Yeah.
sister told him or something like that. And
Oh, yeah, because you didn't do something for your sister. And it's just like, I'm
something-
telling Dad about your fake-
Dad.
No, I've still got 2 years, bitch.
Yeah, and I was like 17. I was like, by then, to be honest, I was over like, going to clubs and stuff like that, because I'd been
Yeah.
to so
Yeah, that
many.
was
Same
that's
with
our
me.
situation
Yeah.
as well.
But
yeah.
it was so funny that people legitimately thought this was a thing. So fucking bizarre.
34.
34.
Going to a club at 34
with
the boys.
dreads. Yeah, and like all the people around me were clearly nowhere near in that age
Yeah.
bracket. It's
That's
just
so
so
funny.
ludicrous. So like I'd grown the facial hair out and I had a shaved head, but I don't know. I don't think they
Welcome.
really give a shit.
No, I don't
think they
think
just
do.
want you to go. They
Yeah.
just want to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
Do you know
Were
what I
you
mean?
with girls most of the time you went?
I honestly can't remember. I can't remember.
Because usually they let you in with your.
Yeah.
But I would be
strategic.
strategic about that. I would never go to a club with a bunch of guys.
No.
I'd always tell my mates, "Oh yeah, I'll meet you in the club."
Yeah.
And I'd like message a bunch of girls and be like, "Yeah, what time are you going?" And I'll
Yeah.
meet you there.
Yeah.
Because that was just a dumb decision.
No,
Yeah.
going with the boys is just you're just never going to
It's
get in.
it's a bad move.
You're going
Yeah.
to get put in the line.
So
Yeah.
you're doing this trip in Sydney.
Yep.
Where does the Sony cams come into it?
Okay, well, we're going to skip to the Sony stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
that
just-
was like, we did a few more trips and stuff, and after Sydney, I realised that I was like, oh, I don't hate travelling with you, Liam.
Yeah.
Like, you're actually
You know when you
right.
travel with someone and it's the first time you've traveled with them and you're like, all right, like, if I don't hate them after this, like, we can be mates sort of thing. But like,
traveling with people,
Just
living
see
with
the-
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you
like
see
you
the
are
most out of
living with
someone.
them
Yeah.
for however long you are. So like
In
we were-
close quarters as
yeah,
well.
exactly. And you're pretty much always together. So we
Yeah.
figured out, all right, look, we don't hate each other. So like,
We'll
you're
just
clearly
keep
like a
hanging out
good
together,
guy. Like, you know, we'll be mates.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad,
Can't
boys.
complain.
Can't complain, boys.
But
and
yeah,
then,
and then,
what did we do
like,
after that? We
I
did
don't
a
know
few
where-
more hectic trips. Like, we didn't do hectic trips until 2017. We went to America, and that was our first international trip together.
yeah.
And,
then
we
is
did
that,
Yeah, we did that for 6 weeks, and then once we got back, I think you were already deciding to go to Sony
Yeah,
at that
I
point.
was like,
yeah.
because when we actually going back to that first trip to Sydney,
Yeah.
or one of the trips to Sydney that we went, because we did quite a few, we met up with this guy called Demis, and he's a really
that's right,
good
yeah.
photographer. And at the time, we had the Nikons, and he had a Sony, which the Sony that I have now, he had that at the time. Right?
Really?
It was
Yeah.
brand
He
new.
still uses it.
The
but-
Mark III.
No, the
Mark
Mark II. Mark II.
Mark II when it came out.
So
yeah,
he had
years
that,
ago, yeah.
and we were shooting stuff at night, and there was this puddle on the side of the road, and it was like a busy street. And he goes, "Watch this." So he takes half a second exposure, just handheld, no tripod. It gets down low right next to the puddle, takes this photo, and it's like a long exposure of a bus, but he did it handheld. I'm like, "How did you do that?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, Sony's have inbuilt stabilization."
Oh, wow.
So the camera, if you hold it still enough
Forgot about
for like
that.
half a second, it inbuilt has stabilization.
Yeah,
And you
plus
can get-
and then paired with its insane night capabilities.
Yeah, the
camera.
low light. The Sony's in low light.
Oh, it was
That's actually the
amazing.
reason why we got these Sonys.
Well,
Yeah.
there you
It's
go.
because of the low light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
Sony's are just renowned for having low light stuff. They're so good, in fact, that Nikon actually uses their sensors because
No shit.
yeah, because Sony
Yeah.
they just kill it, bro. They just
That's what my mate was saying to me when we were debating the GH5 versus the Sony A7 Mark III. Is that like he actually showed me a test between the two, and the stabilization is terrible on the Panasonic.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually horrible.
Yeah, so-
and the
just get a
auto
Sony.
it's got no autofocus as well.
Oh,
So if you're
dude,
doing
no, just-
not no autofocus or the autofocus is horrendous.
Yeah.
So he was doing two shots and it's like of a pole, and the Panasonic's like got these woods over to the right. It's focused in on that, and the Sony's focused in on the pole, but the pole's in the middle of the shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No.
And it's more expensive.
Yeah.
So work that one out.
Who
Yeah, that's
knows?
about right.
Yeah, but that's why I'm in the Sony camp. Plus,
Yeah.
a lot of people seem to have Sonys.
Dude,
I
they're
think
just
it's
good
very-
cameras.
It's just like, why do a lot of people have that product? Or maybe it's because they're good. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
why.
that's about it. Because like you compare everything up together, and yes, it is expensive, but you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? Like you can't drive a Ferrari on the price of a Toyota.
No.
You know what I mean?
You
Like
definitely can't.
But like Sony's secondhand, you can actually get them for a reasonable price. It's just the glass that really fucks you.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
lenses are
lenses
ultra
are
expensive.
so expensive. For
Yeah.
like a common like 24-70 lens, the
You're looking
Sony
at
one.
at least $3,000.
Yeah.
Dude,
Two
we've
and a
been
half,
looking at
$3,000.
building a rig,
Yeah.
which you need at least like 3 lenses. You got camera monitors, the
Yeah.
cage, everything. It's like all up. It's like
You'd be
12
looking-
grand.
Yeah, I was going to say
Far
you'd be
out.
lucky
Minimum.
to get it for around 10 grand.
Yeah, so we've got like a budget of 10 to 12. I'm like, fuck. But,
Well,
that's the price you
Facebook
got to pay.
Marketplace that shit, bro. See what you got.
They do have some good stuff on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done this. You've gone through this stage. When you've both finished school, what were you thinking? Were you like, this is a no-brainer? We're just going to keep doing this because I love this?
That
That was your sort of mentality.
Yeah, that was my mentality, and I was already working for a company 1 day a week called Dutton Garage.
That's right.
I was working for a car dealership at that time, and I was only working 1 day a week there. And I was taking taking photos for their Instagram and whatever, and then helping run their Instagram. At one point, their marketing manager left, and they hired a new marketing manager, and they assigned the Instagram over to me. And I started rocking up there way more often, until the point where they were like, if I didn't rock up one day, they're like, "Oh, Mikey, where'd you go?" And I was like, "I don't work here full time.
Yeah.
I'm just rocking up because I like coming here."
Yeah.
And then eventually they're like, "Oh, we need to put you on full time." And then once we got back from this America trip in 2017 or whatever, I got put straight on to full time at the end of 2017, and then worked full time from before even just getting to work full time. I was like, I see myself working here at Dutton Garage, and this will probably be my first and last job, because after this I don't know what I'm going to be doing, because I didn't even see YouTube and all
We
this
hadn't
kind of,
even thought about YouTube at that point.
Oh,
That
really?
was like,
none of that was even YouTube was really only a thing, because I was like in early 2018 was when we made the switch to Sony, and I said to myself, if I upgrade my camera to something that autofocuses, I'll start YouTube. I'll start a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So that was the time. That was the point, like in early 2017, where I was like, because what actually gave me the incentive to start the YouTube channel, and why I actually kind of wanted to upgrade my camera. I wasn't even looking at Sony at the point. I just wanted a camera that could autofocus for vlogging, like continuous autofocus.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, if I get a camera like that, then I'll start a YouTube channel, right? Because the Nikon that I had didn't do that. And I was when I was learning with photography, and I was watching tutorials, and you'd get some kid that would teach you how to do your job, or some Indian bloke would teach you how to Photoshop something together. And I was like, but the tutorials, although they were informative, they were just boring. Like I just didn't want to. I didn't
just technical, boring stuff.
And it would take 4 minutes to get to the point where you just needed to know which button to press to do what,
Yeah,
or
so it's
something.
like a 20-minute video.
Yeah, and it just annoyed the shit out of me. And I was like, if I ever did these tutorials, I'd make them at least funny.
Yeah.
Like, just mix informativeness with like education with humor, and just have it like mixed together. Like, at least it's watchable then.
Yeah.
And not just like super bland and stuff.
You guys have a very... I can see that at some point you discovered the Casey Neistat sort of vlog when he came out. I think like for a lot of people who are into film and cameras, that was the thing. But I get I see your style, and it reminds me a lot of the Peter McKinnons of the world. It's sort of really engaging, informative, educational, but like I don't find him funny though.
There's too many Peter McKinnons out there.
There is.
I feel like there's got his own cult of people.
just like same
that
lighting,
use the same intro.
Same lighting,
same intro, same like what's up, guys?
same color grading.
Yeah,
just
and
everything.
same type of person. To be honest, it's like
They try to be him.
Yeah, like just do your own thing. Like
That's
at the end of the day,
YouTube.
that's what people are coming back to, is your own personality.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, it was Dutton.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
In terms of like realizing,
How did you get into it and realize that this is the thing I want to do?
it was hard because my family wanted me to go to uni, not like full on strict like you got to go, but they really wanted me to go just because like all your parents, because they don't understand this new age. Like I don't expect my parents to understand that I'm a YouTuber even now. They just see me doing. They're supporting me now, but back when this was like, I'd just come out of school, I was just doing like Instagram, taking photos, just going out with Mike. We I went to. They wanted me to go to RMIT. Like I got into RMIT, sorry, and
Okay.
I was there.
And what were you going to study?
I was studying photography. I actually went to uni.
That's right. You did 2 weeks or something.
So I lasted like 2 weeks of actually going. I think the whole time I was there was for like 2 months, but I actually like the actual time that I went in was 2 weeks worth. So after that, I was smart about it though. I got out before I had to pay. Because I didn't
got
want to
like
pay.
a 3-week period where you don't have
something
to pay.
like that. Yeah.
Just like literally, yeah.
No, I didn't have anything against it. It was just I'd already been doing photography for 3 years at that point.
Yeah.
And the classes were like the day one basics of when you pick up a camera. And
You,
I
you
was like,
basically would have gone in there and realized, like, I'm not going to learn anything
no,
here.
well, I
Oh, yeah.
wasn't. I tried. I was because I like having an open mind about everything. I'm like, I will give it a go. I'll try it. But then I was speaking to my teacher, and she said like the first 2 years will be this sort of dry phase where it's just dry learning. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this. Like, fuck this. So
Yeah.
I was speaking to
You'd
Mike.
still be in uni right now.
I'd still have one more year.
How many years is it? 3.
Yeah. So I'd
Yep.
still have a year left.
Just wasting your
But
time.
being uni, I wouldn't even be doing YouTube or anything. So
Look, it was something that we said downstairs when we were getting our coffees and teas, and I just think like in the creative area, unless you really, 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 really want to go work for a Big 4 agency,
Yeah.
I don't see any point in going to uni. Like
Not
you may as
for
well
a
just go
creative.
get a job straight away, build up your own profile, and go for it.
I was just about to
Exactly.
say that,
That
unless
is-
you're doing
yeah.
like something that needs a degree, because you're not going to go off experience if you're, a surgeon. Oh, I've just practiced on other people. Like, no, a surgeon doesn't do that. Like, you need to go get a degree for that
a
shit.
lawyer, doctor,
Yeah, doctor, engineer, like
accountant,
that's
stuff like that.
all that kind of stuff. Like, you actually need like documentation to show that you're a professional in this industry. And if but like what I hear, a lot of people like, I hear some of my friends and stuff, and their older siblings or whatever are studying accounting, and then realizing after however many years of studying it that it's not for them. And it's like, fuck, well, like, you tried, but where do you go from there? Because then you got to start, ground zero again, because you just decided.
I'm so glad that like we didn't do it, because
Yeah.
it is like, especially going back to just being a creative, the best way to learn, and this is actually everything, the best way to learn is by doing, but
Yeah, it's the
especially
only
with,
way to learn,
that's
in
the
my
only
opinion.
way. Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
But the best way to learn, is by doing with photography especially. And I thought, why am I going to uni to learn about photography? Why don't I just do it, build a portfolio? And I didn't have a plan. I just knew that this was a better option to not go to uni.
There was a lot of questions that we got, and I noticed there was when you look at the questions higher up, there was a lot of people that I get a sense that they're either finessing or like focusing on minutia. Like they're giving themselves a reason why they should not go into it or look for a way to make money out of it. Like the old cliches, like some of the questions here were funny. Like, do you take camera gear everywhere? Like, things that they're obviously, like, oh, what would you do for a camera under $1,000? Whereas I get a sense with you guys, like, who gives a fuck? Just go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just start somewhere
Exactly.
just do it.
I think a lot of people, like, we get questions like that literally every
All
day,
the time.
bombarded with what's the best budget good camera. It doesn't exist.
And it never
budget
will.
and good do not belong in the same sentence for anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you're on a budget, and a tight budget, I mean, you're going to get shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like, it's just, there's no other way, especially with camera gear, because you're paying for the quality, the way that it's made, and the actual quality of the insides of it, like a glass. You're actually paying for the quality of the glass. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And like, aside from all the brands and stuff, because Sigma also make really good lenses as well as Sony, right? But Sony will tend to use better glass. That's why they're expensive. They're not expensive because they're some designer brand. It's fucking Sony. Like, they make PlayStations and TVs. Like, they're not a designer brand like Louis or fucking Gucci or whatever. They're not there. The reason why they're expensive is because they're made of good quality products.
Yeah.
So what would you say principally to those people? How would you convince them? Like, I'm sure you get it all the time, but what is the thing that you say to them that really clicks for a lot of people? Is it literally just say, look, just go do it, man? You waste years
Honestly, like,
finessing.
I just try.
Sorry, is it the question for like going to university
The
learning?
people who are like, finessing over what camera gear I should get, what camera should I go to uni?
For a camera, I usually just suggest the Canon 80D, and I wouldn't recommend really much else if you want to get serious with photography. There's just people that want to get serious. If you don't really know what you're dabbling with right now, you're just sort of like looking into photography and not sure if I want to make it a full-time thing.
Pick something.
Just pick anything.
Just
like
anything. Any camera that can take a photo that has
manual mode. Anything manual mode just to start
important.
with. Oh my, like literally even a phone, like most Android phones have manual modes now. Like just start with that, anything, just to learn the basics of photography. Go watch all the shitty YouTube tutorials and all the weird guys that are going to teach you all the knowledge and stuff about editing and all those boring. Go do all that. And then if you want to get serious about photography, get a Canon 80D, because that is the best bang for buck camera I've ever seen on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a starting point, getting into photography, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And it does video exceptionally well.
Yeah, so if you want to get into YouTube and vlogging and you need to do a video project from someone or get into video, has the capability to do that too.
You know David Dobrik?
Yeah.
Right? He has a Canon 80D.
Yeah.
He doesn't use a mic.
At all.
No, we saw him at VidCon.
No, he walked past us like doing a video. He doesn't use a mic.
Not even one of the sort of cat fur
Nothing.
mics?
Like,
and we actually asked one of his
camera.
mates, like, why doesn't he use a mic? And he goes, he doesn't like it. He hates them. He wants like the omnidirectional mic in the camera because he wants the raw feeling of it.
He wants the raw stuff.
He wants the raw feeling of it.
Yeah, how cool
and
is
that
that?
just proves the point that Casey Neistat says you don't need, for general vlogging style, sort of street style riffing type filming, you don't really need the most expensive
I remember what
equipment.
Casey said was that people actually don't care about the quality of the video. They actually care about the story.
Yeah.
So it can be filmed on a dog shit camera, right? I'm serious. But as long as it's got a good story and like an engaging story to it, people are going to listen to it and watch it because they want to find out about it.
How do you guys view yourselves as storytellers? Like, do you have an idea of like, okay, this is my style? Can you articulate that? Like, how do you
In a
think about
video, like
video
like
and
for-
photography?
kind of like photography, yes, like more or less, definitely. Like now when I look at a photo and I look at a scene, I can like much more visualize what I want to shoot and like how I'm going to edit that photo as well. But back when I first started, like no idea. I was just going in and just figuring it out and learning. But that's how we sort of feel with YouTube right now. Like we're still learning the basics with YouTube, still finding our styles, and it's going to take at least another 12 months to even for some of the smoke to clear there and figure it out. Photography even still. We're always still learning. All of us are still learning, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think you go through that phase. I saw it the other day. It's like a triangle, like a circle. It's like, it's with any task. Say YouTube is an example for us. It goes do, can do, want to do.
Yeah.
So whether, say you're a beginner photographer, you want to get into it, don't ask what camera to do, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it until the point where you can do it. And then once you can do it, you will want to do it.
Yeah.
That's like
That's good.
a
I
really
like that.
good try. Yeah, Hayden put it on his story the other day, and I was like, "Wow, like, that's a really good way to explain a lot of things." Just
I really like
know?
that. That's a good way of phrasing it.
yeah. Well,
And you
that's-
changed your bio recently on your Instagram. It was like a massive debate we were having in the car over.
Yeah,
we're like, oh, I'm gonna change
I was like,
my
should
bio.
I
It's
change
good,
my
it's good."
bio because it used to be stay inspired,
And it's like it's a bit broad.
it's broad, and I don't like. It sounds cool, but like my real message that I wanted to do, which is what I've changed it to now, is don't think, just do.
I think it's a lot better.
Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, that's what the mentality was behind doing it. He's like, should I do it? I'm like, dude, you literally take
I was
your own,
literally
take
just-
your own
yeah.
advice with it.
Yeah, so I just did it, and it's the best advice I could say for any creative. Just don't, because you cannot plan like good content necessarily. Like you just go out and do it.
Yeah.
And whatever you capture will be good.
Yeah. And oh, sorry, I know you're about to say something, but
No, you go.
quickly, when you do try and plan something, you immediately set yourself up for either failure, for one, or you set expectations. So when something doesn't go your way, which it won't with filming, like even on a movie set, nothing ever
Even
ever
just
goes to
here,
plan.
even just trying to set up these cameras,
Yeah, we had
saw.
issues with Liam's
There you go.
cam.
There you go. Had to swap
Yeah.
that one out. Like nothing will ever go to plan when you try and film something. So we don't even bother trying to plan anything, and that way anything that happens is great.
Every single one of our vlogs, like literally no
planning.
plan. Like
No
just
plan
document over create.
It's so funny you mention that because when we do our briefs for video work for clients, they are so skeleton because
Really?
we just tell them like we want to get this, and maybe we'll get 5 out of 10 of these shots.
Yeah.
And just prepare them, like, you know, communicate to them, like, this may not all happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll get super, super crabby. But I completely agree. I think you just need to go out there. I've personally, it reminds me of the stuff with stories and Instagram as we've been getting into Instagram. We really spent the last 2 years perfecting the craft of podcasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only since the start of the year getting into video. And now that we're doing that and Instagram, we've only really started hitting Instagram in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I noticed.
And yeah, it's sort of, you hold yourself back but once you start doing it, you just get better and better. Like, I've been really holding off doing stories, but we had an interview last week and this lady was like, you just got to fucking do it. Like, no one cares.
Yeah, no one cares.
And also, you
People
know what
gonna
I've
watch it
noticed?
for 2 seconds.
I would say to those people who get worried about starting something is you've sort of almost got a sense of self-importance.
Exactly.
Like, you're not that important.
That's your ego. That's your
that is pure
ego.
ego.
Saying like,
and
people, like, no one gives a fuck about you. No, like, someone's gonna see that story
And then, like,
and swipe and watch 200 more because that's what everyone does these days.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's saying, oh, did
Can't
you hear
believe
how he
you-
sounded?
Whoa!
No
Look at
one
that
does-
angle. Oh my
yeah.
god, he didn't have gel in his hair.
Yeah.
What a wax.
Dickhead.
Yeah,
You're
no
a
one
big
cares.
fuckhead, Jordan.
So your creative process is literally just like, you want to get an outcome. You know generally that these are the tools you need to get there, or outcome being a story
Yep.
of some kind.
Yep.
And you're just going to go for it, and
Yeah.
whatever comes.
We think of our videos, and including Hayden, which has influenced a lot of this, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's it. That's all their YouTubes
Yeah.
have. They
And
start somewhere.
Have a goal at the
Yeah,
start.
they have
So
a
you
goal,
say,
so you gotta
"Alright,
do something."
I want to
Yeah.
do this. So today we're going to be doing this photography. That sets a goal up. You go out, and whether you complete the goal or not doesn't actually matter because then there will be a climax as to whether you do or not.
Yeah.
So
And then you
that'll be
talk
the
about that,
midpoint.
and you wrap it all up with a bow, and that's it. And then you put it out there, and then that's the structure. And then anything that happens between that is your video. That's your content.
And you can finesse the little details, color grading, styles, whatever.
Yeah, and that comes over time.
And you learn that, and it's
Yeah.
just it's like what Gary Vee says. It's all about the process.
Exactly.
Yeah. People
think-
love process. I know, like, for example, like, I used to really love stats, like looking at stats of stuff, like whether it be, you know, looking at the likes or how many dollars come into your bank account and whatever, just some shit like that, whatever. Just, I used to love looking at stats, and I still do look at it, but numbers actually mean nothing over social media because it's just, you know, in a way, it's just a byproduct of your success. But like refreshing your feed or looking at how many followers you have is not going to get
It's
you more
useless.
followers.
It is
Yeah.
actually
Getting
the
you more
most
followers.
useless thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like refreshing that little. I do it. Everyone does it every day.
Everyone does
Obviously,
it.
it's just
Everyone does it,
because
but-
it's a habit. But
But you got to learn that it
Yeah.
actually doesn't do anything for your page and for you.
Yeah.
It just gives you a little burst of dopamine.
And you need to recognize that what you put out there on social media is really a documentation of your process, and that over time, like you said, likes, comments, whatever,
Well, it
will
literally
just,
will just come.
so long as you're getting better and you're perfecting and not finessing and worrying about the amount,
Yeah.
those analytics.
exactly.
Yeah,
It will
just
come.
like just for the record as well. Like, you know how I was talking about how we saw that District 9 photo
Yeah.
of Liam. That's he had sub 500 followers then.
Yeah.
Like, not that means anything, but that's like
And
it
for
will just happen over time.
And
yeah.
for context, how long ago was that?
That was
3 or 4 years ago.
No, it wouldn't have been 4. No, I haven't known you for that long. 3. It's 3
We're in
years.
2019, bro. Didn't
Yeah.
it happen in 2015?
Did it?
2016.
Roughly
Three to four
to
years
4.
ago.
3 to
Yeah,
4.
doesn't
And that's
actually
not even
matter,
that
but
long.
yeah.
And where are you at now?
I think on Instagram, I think 75 or something, but that's only happened recently. That skyrocket, like
Yeah.
it has been
And that's
a
what it's
slow
like.
grind.
That
Like,
is exactly what
Dude,
it's like.
we
yeah.
had 2 years of the podcast, basically, or about 18 months. And then if you look at the stats, it just starts to go
Exactly.
up like a hockey
I
puck.
bet it actually went like this. So it started up here, and you're like, yeah, let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
And everyone got around it, and everyone's like, yeah, podcast. And then, boom, ran
Yep.
out of ideas.
Comes down a bit.
And then you're like, I'm going to push through.
And you keep going for
Yeah.
years and years. People, and you tell your friends, oh, yeah, I had this great podcast episode with this person. They're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you start to build an audience. And then all of a sudden it just, like, the fact that we're speaking now, it snowballs
yeah,
like you wouldn't believe.
it is crazy, and that's
exactly.
what's been happening recently in the past. I think pretty much ever since we started YouTube, that is when we've
Like,
seen
very seriously. Like,
That's
literally
when you
since
notice,
about,
yeah?
like,
Just
actually,
like-
since we quit our jobs in February, we both quit our jobs at the same time.
Yeah, same
actually.
week.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
the
only
same
working
week.
1 day a week.
Okay.
Or 1 to 2 days a week. I was creating videos for my cousin's company. He wraps vehicles, And
Oh, really?
yeah. So he wraps cars like supercars. So it was cool. It was it was a fun job. I got to help out my cousin, but even though it was only 1 to 2 days a week, just in terms of being like a YouTuber, I know you have to really fully commit and just be in the zone always. So I felt like those 1 to 2 days were a bit of a distraction from me doing YouTube. So once we both quit and just...
Yeah, I was just saying, I was working full time, believe it or not. And I was like, and my mentality was that, okay, do a day at the dealership and then come home and make a YouTube video. And like, the next day, and then I'd like work a bit on work, and then I'd have, because I was cool with my boss, and he's like, at lunchtime when you've got free time, you can work on your own stuff. So because I'm working full time, I could mix editing with making YouTube videos, and I built like the first 6 months of my YouTube channel around that.
Yeah.
And then once I quit, I was like, fuck yeah, all this time to do YouTube stuff. And then I got home and I had like all this time free, and I'm like, okay, now what? I've done the YouTube video. Now what? Like, do I make another one now? Like, it was super weird to get into.
You wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't have anywhere to go. Like, do I film a video?
So that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
How do you guys look at your day to day? How do you sort of, what structure, if any, is there to your week?
Well, right now we literally have not had. Now we can actually start focusing on structure, because I'm sure, like, if you've been following us for the past, what month we in now? July, 7th month.
You've been away quite a bit.
Literally every single month until this month, we've been away.
Yeah.
Like every single one, we've gone somewhere. Which is, so we, like, where do you put structure into that?
Especially like when you're traveling, it is so hard to build a routine.
Like,
we haven't been able
good
to.
Problem to have, to be honest. Like, we've been, like, feel blessed to be able to travel so
100%,
much. And like, people ask like, oh, how do you afford to do so? By working. Like, you work and then you go and travel somewhere.
There's no
like,
secret. Like, dude,
just
fucking work, save, don't go out. Don't spend $150 on clubbing. There you go. Do that 10 times. That's a flight to America.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then, okay, go traveling with
That's
your
a good
mates.
point.
You split it 4 ways. Accommodation for a week is a couple $100, and you find a nice place because you can afford $2,000 because you can split it, 4 different ways. That's $500. It's not $500 is not hard to make. I've just made 3 separate YouTube videos on how to make $500 almost. So it's like, there's your money.
That point about traveling raises an interesting point. Like, how do you guys... do you now call yourselves creators, or do you still call yourselves photographers?
I hate the word creative or influencer or entrepreneur and all that shit. It's just all bullshit.
Okay,
as
so
Liam would
when
say.
someone asks...
Liam's been loving that line.
It's my like new quote. I want to get it on a t-shirt. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it is all
literally-
bullshit.
It is all bullshit.
So when someone sits next to you on the plane, what do you tell them?
What do you mean?
Like when they say, what do you do for work?
Okay.
Oh, right.
I say I create videos for YouTube.
Okay.
I don't like saying I'm a YouTuber because that's already got a preconceived whatever that people think like, yo, what's going on, guys? Like, and that's just not us at all. So I just say I create videos for YouTube about photography.
Yeah.
And then I generally like keep it pretty short and then just sort of ask them a question.
It was
Because I
really
don't
funny because we were talking about this, like exactly what happens when someone asks you, or when you catch up with one of your mates from school, that obviously we've had some friends that have seen what we've like have grown up with us in high school and have seen the whole snowball effect from to where we are right now. And when you catch up with one of your old mates and stuff, you feel like you're talking all about yourself, because we had phone cases for a bit last year. I was flipping cars with Lamont, and then we were doing YouTube, and I was working full time, and we set up a bunch of stuff, and now we have our own business where we sell the presets now. And then mixing that with with everything, then
there's
all the
just heaps
traveling,
of
like,
shit going on.
there's
At
just
the
so
moment.
much to talk about, and I feel like I'm not egotistical in that way, and I don't like talking about myself. But if you're asking what I've been doing, like,
There's
then
a
just
lot,
lay it out on them. Like, this is actually what I've been doing. You end up talking for like an hour. It's just about yourself.
What's interesting is when you first start out, and we're sort of in a way earlier stage than you guys, but when you start out and you start noticing that those friends start following the thing that you're doing. So you've obviously got your friends on your private Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's when you start noticing that they're following, like, and a lot of them following what you're doing, on the business side of things, that's when it gets interesting, because you start to notice then you're no longer in that stage of like, hey friend, I'm doing this, like, check out this episode or check out this, and they're like, oh yeah, cool.
No, that's exactly what I was saying to you yesterday.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the little weird shit you do, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's hard. I don't know, does that make sort of sense to you? So like, for example, on YouTube, the best thing to do is just be yourself, right? Not try to be anyone else. People actually secretly love like all the little quirkiness things that you do, because I'm sure you've experienced it, where you'll you'll meet up with someone and they'll be like, oh, I saw that, like that little thing you did, that was funny.
Yeah,
right?
that's weird.
It's like
man.
that secret little, obsession.
They actually follow you
it's
full on,
it's so
without even
interesting.
knowing.
They're like, oh yeah, I know, I heard.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I get that
because
a lot.
I've got like 2 separate mates that both cut hair now, so I interchange between both of them each month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like talking to them, like updating them on what I've done since last, like 2 months ago since I saw them last. And they're like, yeah, I know,
Yeah, I
bro.
know,
I
yeah.
know.
I've been
watch your
following.
videos.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, okay, so what's new with you? And he goes, yeah, just been cutting hair, bro.
it's a weird one because people will come out of nowhere and say like, oh, I really like this episode. And I was like, oh fuck, that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And they say a line from there. Like sometimes like that happens with us. Like someone will say a line from one of our videos and say, I thought it was really funny. And I'm like,
It's like an
I can't even
inside
fucking
joke,
remember.
but you don't know about it.
I can't even fucking remember saying that.
I noticed when I met like our first fan, like the first person that reached out to us that had been listening to the podcast and wasn't a friend, didn't know us, whatever.
Awesome.
I ended up meeting up with him and just like learning more about his experience. And like I'd be saying something, he's like, yeah, I know. Like, oh, my family grew up here and this and that. He's like, oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a funny,
that was fucking strange as shit.
That's like a part of, like, because being like doing a podcast and us being YouTubers, like we have a very public job.
Yeah, you divulge a lot of information.
That's all it is. It's, and we were talking about it with Hayden, like, you don't want to let all the followers and all that sort of stuff get to your head, because it's no different from being really good at a job where, say, for example, you're at an accounting firm and you're doing really good there. The only difference is that it's just public. Our
Everyone
jobs are just public.
Yeah.
So they're public. Our success is sort of praised publicly.
Yeah, you
That's the only
don't want
difference.
to get a certain sense of entitlement.
Well, there's no difference.
No.
We're actually no better. It's just we post it to the internet and everyone can see it. That's it.
What we started on YouTube, like the main thing that I wanted to make sure I put my foot down with this when I started my channel was that I don't want to be any different, and I hope I'm not, on camera to when I am talking to you right now in real life. And I hope I don't have like any differences there, because I want it just to be completely raw and like completely the same shit. And that's why I don't try and censor any of my stuff, because if I started censoring my stuff or trying not to swear or use like frick or heck, that's not me. I don't. And when I first started my channel, a lot of people got really upset that I was swearing. I used to get emails from people saying, oh, I'm trying to watch your video with my daughter, can you like stop swearing? I'm like, so you want me to stop being myself? Like that's what I do. Like, I swear. I'm sorry. I worked in a car dealership for 3 years. What the fuck do you expect?
It's so funny. I've got a business podcast and it's explicit. It's like one of the only explicit business like it's in the management and marketing.
That is good though.
That's what you want.
Sets yourself
different.
apart, bro.
Yeah, I don't like. I've always liked to swear. I just
It's
feel
just
like sometimes
natural.
I can express myself
Exactly.
a bit better.
I'm
very
sorry,
passionate.
that's
We're
a very-
wogs. Wogs love to be passionate about their stuff. Use their hands.
Not use the hands too much.
Not
get
too much
way.
out of frame.
No, but swearing's good. Swearing's human.
Yeah, it just shows it's a level of authenticity, I think.
Exactly.
Now, just thinking about the business model of this thing, of whatever you guys want to dub it, whatever you're doing, you've got like many different revenue streams, whether it's doing shoots, it could be, I don't know if you get YouTube ad revenue. I know everyone gets demonetized these days, so
I'm
you never
surprised.
No,
I'm actually surprised I'm not demonetized.
Really?
I don't think YouTube can understand my accent.
know. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw this thing with Lewis Spears recently saying that...
I saw that too. I think it's the same.
Yeah. So like the word cunt is just it's done like they can't work it out, but now, like he said can't.
Yeah.
And it comes up as can't.
And it's like
so CAN apostrophe
G'day, can't.
It's only, I think he said like good day can't.
Yeah.
Good day can't. Like
Day can'ts. That's so fucking funny.
yeah.
So you've got that. You've got every now and then you work on sponsorship deals. I found it really interesting looking at the photogenic phones business.
Yeah.
Because I think the smartest creatives and whatever you want to call yourselves, YouTubers, have been the ones that. And this is something I was discussing with Steph Smith a week or so ago.
Yep.
Is using your audience to create a sustainable business that has cash flow.
Yeah.
And I think that doing that is probably what set you guys apart from others. And I guess I'm just curious as to sort of what was the mindset behind that?
Behind the phone cases?
Yeah, like why did you go, okay, we'll do this?
Like,
Literally,
it's so
it was
funny.
so
You're
out of the moment.
Yeah, it's like so funny that that's your take on things, because our take was like, do you want to, like, we sat down
We
for
had coffee
and
we
we're
were
like,
just
do you
like-
want to make phone cases? And we're like, yeah, all right, we'll make phone cases.
Put our photos on a phone case. Like, no, I haven't seen anyone do that. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we made like we didn't actually, they weren't custom at that point as well. What we launched officially, like we always wanted to call it photogenic phones, because I thought that was just a cool name for it, and it's like kind of catchy and you could remember it. And which also raises another point. It doesn't actually matter what your name is, as long as you make a good product, then people are going to remember it for the good product. But anyway, it helps if you have a good name, I guess. But what we did was I shot like a bunch of Japanese cars, and we went to Japanese car meets and sold those phone cases.
That's right. You sold like
Supras,
R34s,
S13s, Evos, Subarus, all that kind of stuff. And we had 10 different designs.
And they were pre-designed, so they were just like Mike's friends' cars. So
I shot with my mates' cars and stuff, put them on phone cases, and went out to car meets, and we made like a decent money from it. Way more than what we make working full time.
Yeah,
we'd make decent money from that. That'd pay for our fuel and our food, and then we could save a bit as well just from doing that kind of stuff. And then what kept happening as we went to more car meets and events was people saying like, I would love to have this, but if it was my own car, right?
Yeah, can you put my car on it?
And then we're like, we can't, but that's a really good idea. So we talked to our suppliers, and we can buy the kit of the phone cases. And then we talked to our other mate who's got printers that can print the die to press into the actual case, and then make it all happen. And then eventually we set up photogenic phones, which was about 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay.
But it's really funny now because photogenic phones, because we've been traveling so much, a phone case company has to be done, usually in person in an office.
Especially this one, because we've got to make them. Me and Mike, we hand make them. We do them.
Yeah,
we
you
press
have to put it into... Do you use Photoshop or Lightroom?
Illustrator. So Illustrator,
really?
we have all our templates that we've set up. So someone sends us a photo through the website. Yeah, we whack it in, print it. Yeah, so that has to be done
and then send it out. So it's all done by us and handmade by us and everything. But it's kind of hard to have a hands-on company when you're overseas, right? It just doesn't work, right? And like we luckily we've had our mates at the office that we've been working out of.
Yeah, they've
been a great help to us because they've been helping make it and stuff, and we've been doing the more marketing side of things. But as YouTube is growing more rapidly, even this past month where we've been to VidCon and seen what is possible to do, because we saw David Dobrik and Jake Paul walking around and stuff, and
it's inspiring.
All these YouTubers rocking up in G-Wagons and McLarens, and like, not that that's what you want out of YouTube, but it's like, it's cool to see that it's possible to be, yourself, completely self-sustained, and you can have a very successful life out of it. You know what I mean? Like, it is genuinely a job. Yeah. And like, that's how we sort of want to look at it more. And it's just kind of like sealed the deal for us. Not that we weren't ever going to stop doing YouTube, but it's kind of just sealed the deal in terms of like, this is actually what can be done in life, you know what I mean?
And I think, look, things like, if you were to look at all the different revenue streams, do you reckon the presets is where the bulk of it comes through?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Presets are good because they provide a lot of value.
Immediately.
Immediately. Plus, the best part about it is it's a digital product.
There's no shipping.
There's no shipping.
And which is good for the customer's point of perspective as well, because they don't have to wait for anything. So they can download it immediately and start learning.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with our presets, where we wanted it to be different was that, usually, because presets aren't going to work for every single photo, but if you sell a pack of 20, in this case a combo pack of 40, one of them's going to work on one of your photos regardless, which is going to keep people happy, right?
Because we wanted to be different, because there's heaps of people selling presets, right? But they'll sell like a pack of 10 or 15 and that's it. But what we stepped it up. We wanted to be different because we wanted to give people more value. So for every single individual preset, we provided a raw photo to actually test. So one of our raw photos
that they can edit
on, plus a video tutorial of us. So for my 20, I did each single preset. I did a video tutorial explaining how to use that preset, what photo you should use it on, and if you encounter a problem, this is what you should do.
Wow.
Just
like how to
make sure,
what temperature to sort of like, if you apply this preset and you notice it's more exposed or it's a different color, how do you fix that? And it literally takes 2 seconds. You adjust the temperature or you down the exposure in Lightroom.
But that's hard to know. Like, it takes years to actually learn that simple thing.
Yeah.
That's how you change.
It's not very complicated. So we'd go through for every single preset. Plus, we'd have an intro video explaining like, hey, this is the preset. This is what you're going to expect. And then we'd have a tutorial on how to swap them over to your phone if you use Lightroom Mobile. So you can put the presets onto your phone. I didn't even know there was a
mobile version.
Yeah, so it's free. You can download that. I'm not sponsored by... Well, I can't... we can't...
Anyway.
I can say. Anyway. And then you can... so you can get... So we've just done tutorials for everything. You know what I mean? So everything's there. And we've sold, a fair few now, and we've never got a complaint.
And
Yeah.
So you're thinking of the YouTube angle more, it sounds like. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that in years to come, the bulk of where you'll make your income from is that purely?
Yeah. Well, YouTube, it's so good because you can build a lot of revenue streams, as you know. Like, you got AdSense, then you have affiliate links, so links that are in your description,
That's a
you
good
know.
point, yeah.
We have that with Epidemic Sound. So for everyone who signs up through our link, we get 30 USD.
Okay.
So that's the agreement that we have with them, and that's
Yep.
like for all their creators. So that's another one.
And then plus selling your own products.
Own products plus
Yeah,
brand
presets.
deals.
And then
phone.
eventually you want to build your community to a certain level. Sometimes your audience might ask for merchandise, in which case it's like Hayden's audience right now. So we're setting up his merchandise with him. And eventually, hopefully we can reach a stage where we can set up merchandise as well. And so that is always going to give you a kickback regardless.
The good thing, merchandise is good if you want to make like a little bit of money, but it's more for building that community and just getting people to wear your stuff. You're not going to make all your money through your merch.
And do you still do photo projects? Like you do shoots?
The only people that I work with, to be honest, is Porsche, because I've known them for years now, because I've worked at Dutton's, and I got that contact through Dutton's, and I really only work with them because I actually love the brand of Porsche. Like, I love everything about them, and plus they're really good people to work with.
Yeah.
But
what about
otherwise,
yourself? Do you do any
I do
more
freelance
shoots?
stuff, so I really love food photography. So I do photos for cafes and stuff, and like little videos. I just love it. It's just fun, and you get to eat the food after.
Do you? Oh,
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when I worked in hospitality, they get like a photographer, videographer in, and
eat all the food.
It's so good.
yeah, they're like, oh, just have you got to take a bite out of it. It's
Yeah.
like, no worries.
Yeah,
mate.
exactly.
I'll take a bite of that.
So that's what I do to create, because at the moment I can't afford to live off just, the YouTube money. So I do that to fund my life, and then
Which is literally food and fuel.
Yeah.
That's about it.
yeah,
Well, it's, you guys are at a young age. I think by setting the groundwork now, the compound growth and the exponential growth that'll happen by the time you're 30, so long as you continue through the process,
Yep.
you'll be in a very enviable situation, I think, in comparison to the people who are at RMIT.
yeah. Well,
Doing 3 years at uni.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it,
Yeah.
but I just think, if you look at the effort and time and money that you've spent in doing that
yeah,
Yeah.
instead of going to uni, I think is a lot
Exactly.
better
100%.
spent.
I think
Yeah.
what's funny about doing this side of things, though, is like it's good for anyone listening to this podcast so they can see the whole backstory behind what is
Northborders,
what Northborders and 7th year is,
not
right?
just like how do you get 100,000
Because
followers?
that's what people look at is that 100k, 70 odd k, this on YouTube, that on YouTube, like yeah, that's whatever, and they'll make a judgment out of that, but they don't see the blood, sweat, tears, and hours of work. There's been times where I'm like, it's not for me, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah,
maybe
same
this
with
is not for
YouTube.
me.
Yeah, I've been like,
This is not
do
for
I
me.
really want to create videos? Like, is that me? Like,
But you,
I don't know.
you push through that stage. Like we've hit stages like even early in photography where we're like, nah, can't take any good photos like this person and compared ourselves to other people, which we've all done.
But that's where you learn.
Yeah, that's what you
Yeah.
learn. You're like, I don't need to compare myself to anyone because no one is me.
Yeah.
So what's the point of comparing yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have those. I've had those moments heaps of times. I
everyone
still
does.
get it.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
of
human
course,
nature.
yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
gets it, but it's learning about when you feel, how you feel when that happens, and learning what you do with that.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
where you learn the most and,
And
how you
that's
push through.
a mental muscle. Like the more times where you feel like I don't think I should do this, the more times you push through that, the easier it is. So
Yeah.
like now when you're in that situation, and I'm sure you know how to do it as well, you're like, all right, I've been in this situation heaps of times. This is what I'm going to do to get out of it. And this
Yeah.
is how I'm going to get motivated.
It's and one thing to think about with that as well is it's a lot easier to hold on to a negative thought than it is a positive thought. So if you want to
Yeah.
get out of your head, just think about the positive side of the situation,
Yeah,
and the thought will go away, and then you can just carry on with what you're doing.
yeah,
I've learned that a lot in the last 2 years, I'd say.
Yeah. That's really good.
definitely.
I want to talk about kit because we'll need to get into some rapid fire questions soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do these fast as well because
Yeah, let's do it.
there is so many questions on kit. I
Kit.
know a lot of people are just like, going on and on about Nikon and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, that's just a meme
Yeah,
we
it's
created.
just-
I've got
it's definitely
actually
a-
got nothing against
No,
Nikon because
Nikons
they
are
make
good.
great photography cameras, but it's just funny to make fun of them.
How about we'll go with cameras first?
Yep, let's go.
You've got the A7 Mark II and
Three.
Mark III.
A7R.
A7R. That's right. Why mirrorless cameras?
Good in low light.
Yep.
Light,
4K video.
smaller. They're smaller
Okay.
cameras in general.
Yeah, 4K video.
4K.
And they're not that autofocus is across all cameras now, but mainly the low light situation. That's probably mainly about that. And then why Sony more or less is because 4K autofocus ticks all the boxes in that regard.
Yeah.
But mainly low light, I think. Yeah.
And they're small.
Okay.
And they're small, very portable.
What lenses do you use 80% of the time?
For all my vlogs, I use a 24-70 f2.8.
Yep.
I would, if anyone's thinking of getting a lens, like an all-rounder, that is the lens that is going to make you all your money.
Yep.
Because I can vlog on it, and then I can get cinematic B-roll with it as well. So best lens, in my opinion.
And is that the Sony or
That's
the
a Sony?
That's a Sony G Master.
So that one, I got it online. It's around $2,500, but worth every dollar.
Brand new or secondhand?
Brand new. Yeah, I couldn't find one secondhand. No one wants to sell them.
Yeah. And I use a 16-35 G Master.
16-35.
So mine's much wider. And I've always...
Going back to your roots?
Yeah, going back. I've always been on wide, actually, no matter what camera I've upgraded to, because when my first camera I had an 18-16, and then my second camera I had a 15-30, and now I've got a 16-35. I guess, I just love the wide because I've always liked shooting landscapes, and I can get that really wide perspective, which I think looks awesome, and it's really handy for, if you're in a small space and you're vlogging.
That's the one thing about the 24-70. If I'm in my car, I'm like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's like
but I can't get anywhere near as cinematic.
So if you had to pick two lenses, those two would be the go-to for the Sony series, Sony A series.
Yeah, and then I'd get a prime to pair it with. So you'd get a 16-35, 24-70, and then
just get a prime. Whether it doesn't actually matter about the prime, it's more just like what you like.
It's kind of like just a weekender drive.
It's like your weekend car.
For those who aren't aware of cameras, what's a prime?
A prime lens is a lens that cannot zoom, but
it's a fixed lens. Yeah.
It's at one focal length. So it's but because it is at one focal length, it is made to be extremely sharp. So, for example, a 35mm is like the same. It's the equivalent of an iPhone camera. So that's 35mm, but ultra sharp.
Yeah. Okay. So these are normally the lenses that you get with the kit. Yeah, if you buy a kit.
No. That's called a kit lens.
That's a kit lens. These are called primes. Yeah.
Prime lens is a fixed lens. You cannot zoom. The only one ring on it is a focus ring usually, and like Liam said, ultra sharp because there's only one or a couple pieces of glass in there that are specifically made to be shot at that millimeter length.
So the kit lens, when you do buy, because I've never bought a camera with the kit lens.
Yeah.
It's usually an 18.
It's always a waste.
18 to 55.
Yeah, and you can pick one of those up for like $50.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got cameras, we've got lenses, glass. I think you've reiterated many times that that's where it's at.
Yeah.
What, in terms of equipment, to what level, if you were to look at 80% of your shoots, how much do things like GoPros and drones add to what you're currently doing?
I have not used a GoPro in few years.
I've never used a GoPro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, GoPros, I don't think are that necessary. Mainly because I don't really like the quality. Not the quality of them. The quality is amazing for the camera. It is, but the lens, how you can't change a lens on it and stuff, and it's always super wide. Doesn't really work for what I want to do.
Yeah.
But a drone, I know. I had two drones actually. I had a Phantom 4 Pro. I had a Phantom 4. I sold that. Got a Phantom 4 Pro, and I crashed it in Barcelona. And then couldn't.
It's an expensive crash.
Yeah, couldn't get it back or whatever. And then my Dutton Garage actually bought me a Mavic Platinum to use for work. And then my boss allowed me to take it out on shoots. Then I had to give it back when I quit. So I don't have a drone at the moment.
Yeah. But I have a Mavic.
Yeah. You got a Mavic?
I have a DJI Mavic Pro, just the first one that came out, and. In terms of, do you mean is it important for YouTube videos?
Oh, look, it's definitely not important for people starting out.
No,
but for you, when you go pro, I get a sense that it might take things to another dimension.
What it's good for is B-roll. So say you're going from one location to another. That's pretty much all I use it for. I don't even use it for photos.
Well, what else could you use it for?
That's the thing. Yeah, it's just showing the passing of time.
The night quality on it is horrendous on a Mavic. The Phantom's a lot better, but still, even it's just like
if you're in real estate, you should probably get one.
Yeah,
but if
you need one,
you actually need one.
If you're taking photos of food. Probably not.
It'd be a very messy photo shoot. Just shit going everywhere.
Cutting your hands up.
Yeah.
What's the worst cut you guys have had with those drones?
Nothing.
None?
Never been cut.
Okay, me and my cousin, we used to build drones for fun, like racing drones, and I remember I cut my left palm really badly. It was super deep.
That's no good.
And there's a vein that goes here, and it was a nasty cut.
Yuck.
Yeah, that was fun. All right. Software, I think it's obvious that Lightroom is where it's at for
specific
for
photography,
photos.
editing. You can't do anything with video there.
Do you use Premiere Pro for video?
Yep.
We do use Premiere Pro. I've been meaning to try Final Cut because we're both on Apple, and I might give that a shot just to see what it's like. But right now, because I'm on Adobe, you just get the whole suite with everything. So it's like, I don't want to pay for 2 subscriptions. Yeah, so it's just like keep on Adobe. Yeah.
Every single editor that we've hired, they all use Premiere Pro.
Dude, my whole mentality with that is like, dude, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, I know what I'm doing on Premiere. I'm just going to stick to it.
And just go for
like,
that.
if it works for me, it works.
And plus, you get good memes out of it when something goes wrong.
Yeah,
There's heaps
it's
of
a
bugs
good
with
story.
it. So it's like you always get, you can just make content out of it.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong.
Always be contenting.
Yeah, exactly.
Storage, how do you view that? I know Casey Neistat's a bit of a freak about that. There was another one of these sort of finessing questions that people have.
I've heard horror stories about storage, and I actually don't know how so many people have fucked up their hard drive situations. To be honest, I'm going to look into getting some SSDs in the future and like a hard drive, like space. What's it called?
NAS?
Like a bank or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a bank.
Yeah, so in the future, once we can afford to do so, I'd love to be able to get one of those and bank it all up.
Yeah.
But right now, just using the Lacy hard drives,
Yeah.
5 terabyte. One's a 5 terabyte Type C.
It's sort of all you need, isn't it?
Yeah, when you're starting out, especially, even it's just good,
Is it a solid state drive or
no?
just
That's the thing. It's not solid state.
Yeah, just HD, but we'll eventually move to solid state because the technology is improving with that quite fast. Because when they first came out, they were quite expensive, and now Samsung have developed really good solid state.
Yeah, I might get one of those ones. I think they're about $300 for 2 terabytes.
Yeah,
I might do that too, and it'll be a lot faster.
I've got a 2 terabyte. I use only solid state. I just blanked on the brand. I hardly use it.
Really?
It's mainly because I don't, like for our business and all that sort of stuff, I'm just all facing. I actually don't know how to edit video. Really? I've got no fucking idea.
Really?
I've never edited a podcast episode.
Wait, who does it?
My Lauren, creative director.
My Lauren.
My Lauren.
My Lauren.
Where'd you buy that? Sorry, Lauren. I didn't hear that.
She'll be pissing herself. When we first started out doing this, she was like, "Oh, do you need some help?" And I was like, on the first episode, I was like, this is fucked. Like, podcast is easy though, because you just drag and drop it in.
Yeah, of course.
And then you need to take out some buggy bits. But video is harder. But yeah, I've never, ever edited on video, and I've just sort of played around with it.
Interesting.
But I've never actively...
Right. It's not for everyone
I
sometimes.
just prefer being in front of the camera and doing all that sort of stuff. And I'm better selling to people and getting money in as opposed to wasting my time editing.
Yeah.
It's just a fast period.
It's not for everyone. Like everyone's got different tastes and what they like to do.
Yeah. Like I know my style and what I love, and I just tell them like I want this like this and that like that.
Yeah.
But I just can't see myself bothering to learn.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'd just rather sell shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Look, I think that covers everything when it comes to kits and all that sort of stuff. But I think one thing I wanted to know is how do you discover the best tools? And it sort of seems like you're just watching shit on YouTube all the time. You're at the forefront of where the industry's at. You're looking at things like the new Mark IV, the Sony Mark IV.
Yep.
And I get a sense that is really what people are asking because, I can ask you this in 12 months from now and your opinion's going to change anyway.
Yeah.
So it sort of seems like if you're just always doing stuff, you're going to catch it through osmosis anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You're saying like what's the new best camera stuff?
Yeah, because
just watch YouTube videos.
You can sort of sense with the questions that people are asking there, they're always sort of wanting to know what's the next, but what should I do with this amount of money?
At the end of the day, we're not God. Like I can't tell you all the answers. I've literally had 3 cameras in my life, and people are like, "Oh, what's this Canon like?" Like, dude,
I've no idea.
I've literally never even heard of that camera. I'm sorry, I don't know half of these cameras.
Even like the technical side of photography, I don't know. Like I know how to use a camera, but if someone's asking me how many bitrate mega, I'm like, dude, stop. I don't know. Like,
my
I
photography
don't know.
teacher wanted to fail me in high school, actually.
Yeah,
he wanted to fail me because I didn't do any theory work. Couldn't tell you a single thing about it.
It took me
theory.
it took me a good 6 months to even bother learning about the frames per second and all that shit because I just didn't even need to know. I just had people doing it for me.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think if you got a price, if you got a budget, just find a good camera, look at the reviews, and go for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's as
Exactly,
simple
yeah.
as
Yeah,
that.
don't overthink it.
All right, before we jump into these fast questions, who, apart from Hayden, Lamont, and who else is in your little crew? I think that's
There's us two.
it.
Yeah, it's 4 people.
Yeah.
It's Hayden, Lamont, and us two. Yeah.
Who do you guys respect as creators and photographers?
In
As
the group.
in the group, sorry, or as
Just leaders in general.
okay.
You
there's-
pick 2 people.
Are you saying within the group?
No,
Who-
not in the group.
Oh.
They can't be in the group. You can't say
Oh,
Hayden.
okay.
okay,
so
right.
we can't
As
say
in,
each
like,
other.
people that we look up to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he's not quite a photographer, but he's very creative. He's a guy called Kizil Salim. He's a UK designer, actually, graphics designer, and he builds cars. He actually does the stuff for Need for Speed
Oh, really?
in the video games. Like he builds the all
All
the
the
stuff, but he
renders,
actually takes
yeah.
photos as well. Like he makes the renders of the cars. And what he'll do is he'll take a photo of a car and like wide body it in Photoshop and 3ds Max.
But it looks like it looks real.
though. It looks real. Like
it's
it's
good.
unbelievable the stuff that this guy can do. Like it's like he helps with EA and stuff. And
Okay.
I think that he is like
He's the tits.
like because he mixes like cyberpunk with cars and then Photoshop and he does it all himself and it's just awesome, man. Like you got to check him out.
So what's his handle on Instagram?
The
you know?
Kaiser,
The
the
Kaiser.
underscore Kaiser, like KHYZA, the underscore Kaiser.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out
Yeah,
after
dude,
this.
he's like the core of my inspiration for car photography. Yeah.
Okay. And what about yourself?
Oh, it's a hard question. Like in terms of, like, because I know I get all my motivation from like Hayden, Lamont, and Mike. Like because we're always creating together. So it's hard to say. Like a lot of Gary Vee, like he fucking inspires me. Obviously, the whole sort of thing about document over create.
Yeah.
Like that's something really important
Yeah.
when you when it comes to YouTube, like creating good content. Don't try and create something good because you won't be able to. Just document the process and it will end up being good content.
But
Gary Vee's a good one.
Yeah, dude, I don't really personally. I don't really follow anyone religiously, and I'm like, oh, yeah, new video out. I don't really do that to anyone. I'm just sort of like inspired by these boys.
Nice.
Yeah,
there is a
nice.
photographer.
I know you
as
said
well
I couldn't say
called-
someone in the group, but
what about 19 Tones?
yeah, he's good. Yeah.
we get a lot of inspiration.
There's
I know
heaps
I
of
do.
people. It's just cool shit I see on the internet. Pinterest.
Yeah,
Pinterest is
That
good.
is the place. Okay, if you're not
Yeah.
inspired, even for podcasts, I bet you like podcast
Dude,
setups.
go
Do you
on
think
Pinterest.
Pinterest is
Fucking-
underrated?
Dude,
Pinterest
it
is
is so underrated.
Pinterest and Tumblr. But
Dude,
more
I've done it
specifically,
before
Pinterest.
where I've been on a professional shoot. I've run out of ideas. I type in whatever food photography ideas, Pinterest. The best ones will just come up.
Yeah, I actually reckon we might make a video on this because
Done.
of how underrated Pinterest
I'm
is.
making that
I
video.
think so.
Yeah. Fuck you.
This is just for photography, right? Not video?
No,
Dude,
this is.
probably
Oh,
video
sorry,
as well.
okay. You could probably find stuff for video, but Pinterest is specifically photography-related
yeah.
items on the
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
website.
I was just thinking for a second, have they started doing video as well?
No.
Yeah.
But you could go onto Pinterest for a video idea. Like let's say you typed in like sparklers, and you could see what people have photographed, and then you could try and recreate that, and that's your video idea. Do you know what I mean? So you could any idea is a video idea at the end of the day because it's just you're just documenting how you're gonna.
Ideas
outlay
are
that
easy.
idea.
Execution is hard.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Rapid fire questions.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
It's gonna be
It's
hard
gonna be
for
hard.
Mike.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard. For me. Maybe I just won't answer any of them.
What's in the fridge at home?
Ooh, right now I've got ricotta cheese and some bacon.
Ricotta cheese and bacon.
I've got heaps of condiments that we never use, but they're still in there.
Okay.
And my nonna
You smoked
made
salmon.
like a little pie. I ate the smoked salmon.
Beautiful. What's
Funny
the
how
what's
we know
the
it's
pie?
each other's
It's
fridge.
like, so my nonna, she's Maltese. She creates like this pie. It's got like peas, tuna, just all this really healthy shit.
So like
in
a
it.
fisherman's pie.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
It's a
sort of
fisherman's
like a
pie.
seafood pie.
Yeah, just
you know?
random
Yeah.
shit, but
Yeah.
tastes good. Yeah.
Yum. Sounds fucking delicious.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
All right. What does your morning and evening routines look like? So how do you wake up and get ready, and how do you decompress at night?
Brush my teeth in the morning, and I've also got this face spray I bought for the plane ride home. I just spray that on my face. I don't know what it does, but it feels good, and it smells good. Actually, it smells like
Like rose water or something?
yeah, it smells like the color pink. So I'm gonna say rose water.
It sounds like rose water.
yeah, it's that. So spray a bit of that.
Yeah,
on.
it is.
How ethnic of you.
But it's pretty ethnic, and then not only that, sometimes Mum she'll rub this lavender on my pillow. Did you do that?
Yeah,
as
it
well?
smells good.
You smell the lavender
Yeah.
to relax you.
Yeah.
She'll do that for me. Thanks, Mum.
Lavender, I
Bloody well.
love that smell of
Yeah.
lavender. It's very calming at night, isn't it? Lavender oil.
Yeah, lavender oil. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very calming to do. But morning is I'll splash water on my face every morning just to wake me up.
Okay.
And
What
then,
about at night?
Night, I won't splash water. I'll usually I'll go to the gym usually at night. Like
Yep.
I'm going to go to the gym tonight. I'm trying to go like every single day except for Sundays.
Okay.
So I'll go to the gym and then I'll run for like half an hour on the treadmill, squats, and then arms, and then core workout, and then like hot shower, and then straight to bed.
Okay.
Yep.
about you?
Me in the morning, I need to get out of bed fast, otherwise this whole
He
shit
throws
like
himself out of bed.
literally I get out of bed
So you
fast.
just like
Yeah.
Literally,
Literally.
I just rip the sheets off and I'm out. Otherwise, you check your phone and you're scrolling and all that shit starts. So I get out.
I've progressively moved my phone out of the
Yeah,
bedroom
that's
and
so good.
just like pull the blinds straight away.
Yeah,
Even
open
though
the lighting. Yeah,
I think I even heard you count yourself in. When
Yeah,
we
go,
were,
3,
when we
2,
were overseas, I thought like I heard you wake up and go 3, 2, 1, and then
What a great process though.
yeah, it's good. Just get out of bed and then I get dressed very quickly. Just get started. No bullshit. No walking around in your undies.
all
Just
bullshit.
get ready. Just get dressed, get ready, and then start the day.
I like it. You've inspired me
Yeah.
to do that tomorrow. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
try it.
fuck
Yeah.
I'm notorious for like going down and making breakfast. I should definitely be like having a shower and getting dressed.
Dude,
so-
just get dressed
dude,
and then
fuck
start
breakfast. You
your
don't
day.
need breakfast.
yeah.
Skip that shit.
It's not really. I wouldn't even call it breakfast. It's more like
A coffee.
brunch.
Little
Okay.
snack. Yeah.
Really, you get up late.
Yeah. Not. I just don't. I fast like for a few hours after I wake up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
okay.
eat till like 10 or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
fair
good.
enough.
Okay.
And then night is so I usually go training, just get a bit of exercise, and then after that I'll come home, have a shower, and then before I go to bed I have like a good routine. So this helps me get to sleep. I'll come home and then about
Yeah, that's
maybe
right.
half an hour. It's good. You should try it.
I should actually try, yeah.
All you do, you get incense.
Yep.
So I have a little stick. I light that, right? Get that going, and then I light a candle like it's scented.
Okay.
And then I turn all the lights off in my room, so it's just that. And then I put my phone on flight mode and I put that on charge. So that's done. Then I go brush my teeth, take a shit, whatever. Everyone does it. Of
Not
course.
bad,
Not
good
bad.
size.
Good size. Take a shit.
Good size. Oh, not
So
good size, but
But whilst you're doing that, the incense is going right. Your room smells good, so you come back. It's like nicely lit. And you don't look at your phone. Never look at your phone at least like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Don't look at your phone. And then I just lie there. I just blow out the candle and go to bed. It
Bada
smells
bing.
mint.
Bada bing, bada boom.
yeah,
Boom.
I like this process. I need to get some fucking incense
you
and
need it.
lavender oil in
Yeah.
my
or
room
you
and
could
shit.
just smash 6 gin and tonics. It does it automatically somehow. It's
Lauren just got a humidifier. It
Oh,
gets
yeah.
so dry,
Yeah.
like during fucking
Yeah.
winter.
during
But
fucking.
she'll be like, "Oh god!" I can just imagine her sitting at the laptop right now, just being like,
God, everyone has sex. Nothing wrong with that.
Sorry.
"She'll be loving that." We need to like put some lavender oil in
Yeah.
the fucking humidifier or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lavender oil's good
and
shit.
put a candle in it.
Whack again. All right. Best purchase under $200.
Ooh.
Our presets.
Hey.
Our presets.
Link in
Can't
bio.
get us.
Well done. I like that. I'll give that
Next
to you.
question quickly.
All right. Last question for you. If you
Yeah.
guys could have a billboard anywhere in Australia, where would it be, first of all? And then what would you have on it?
Can I have it on a tram?
Whatever you want.
Actually, no, I don't want the tram anymore. Billboard in Australia. I'll have it on Uluru Rock.
Okay.
Oh,
That'd be fun, yeah.
that is fucked. Should
Yeah.
take that back.
Hey, so long as he's not walking on it, it's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. True,
Well,
yeah.
it could be hovering there. Technology's pretty
Yeah,
advanced.
drone billboard.
Yeah.
All right, so you got your billboard at Uluru.
Yep.
What did you have on it?
I'd have what would I have? Oh, can you come back to me? I'm going to think about it. Go to
Okay.
Liam, where would you have your billboard?
Dude, it's just like
think.
I don't think anyone even looks at billboards personally, but anyway,
No, if it's
I'll
funny,
still answer
hang
the
on, yeah.
question. I would literally just have a photo of my face somewhere in the city, like on the Eureka. just somewhere funny because
I'm thinking like the Flinders Street intersection. You know
Yeah.
that big wraparound board. So
Yeah.
your face goes past, and then the eggplant emoji,
Yeah.
and your face, and it's just like
Actually,
would be
we're-
funny. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
We might be doing something like that quite soon because my old boss actually from Duttons, because he quit at the same time as I did,
Really?
and his brother owns an advertising company, and they now own the rights and the screens to put their LED billboard screens on cranes, and we're going to be doing a video with them, so
way.
we're going to be putting something onto that screen.
yeah, we actually
And
might be doing
we might
that.
actually
yeah.
be doing that. Funny enough that you put it that you bring it up, but
Wow.
I might put a big fuck Nick on the Uluru Rock, and then sponsored by Northborders down the bottom right. or
Just
something.
can we just clarify this meme? Why the whole Nikon thing?
So pretty much,
Yeah,
we wanted to work with them back when we had maybe like, I don't know, 10K followers, whatever.
was.
It doesn't
matter. Yeah,
right? And no one knew who we were, like not saying anyone does now, but at that point we were still smaller creators, and we tried to reach out to Nikon, and they wouldn't have a bar, but they didn't want to work with us
we
or
tried
anything.
for ages,
Like
as well.
ages trying
Yeah.
to even just, get a camera, they would just sort of
Not
palm us
interested.
off, and then as we grew, they invited us to this event, and this maybe like a year ago. They invited us to an event, and we're like, nah, fuck Nikon, and then this
Yeah.
whole thing started about just like Sony's awesome, fuck Nikon. We
Yeah.
just made it a meme.
And
It
then
was just
eventually
funny.
it got to a point where
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
when we were pushing the whole like eggplant thing like way more and stuff, and I got like a whole bunch of people to go and spam the Nikon page with eggplants, and we got a fair few hundred comments. And I think when that happened, someone who was running the social media side of it was just like, who the fuck's this dickhead, and blocked me, but didn't tell anyone or something,
Okay.
because obviously a bunch of people run the account. And then I wanted to check a couple months later, because I think I was bringing up the conversation about, oh yeah, we went and spammed Nikon with a bunch of eggplants. It was funny as fuck. Like they're just
Yeah.
going to get like all these DMs of eggplants. Like,
Yeah.
where's this coming from, right?
Yeah.
And then so I went to go type in Nikon Australia. I was with the boys, and I was like, boys, what happened to Nikon Australia's Instagram account? I didn't know I got blocked at this point. And everyone's like, oh,
Yeah.
I got it. Lamont's like, yeah, I got it. Hayden's like, yeah, I can find it. I'm like, those fucking dogs, they blocked me. They blocked me on Instagram.
Wow.
So I made a story going, Nikon's blocked me. Go and spam their page with eggplants, right? And then literally within an hour, there's hundreds of comments of like eggplants of this random people doing it. And about an hour and a half later, I get a call from Nikon, and it's like, hey, it's Sam. I'm pretty sure his name was Sam. And he goes, hey, it's Sam here. I'm the marketing manager at Nikon Australia, and we can't actually work out why you've been blocked, because obviously someone who blocked me last time blocked me and didn't tell anyone, right? But the last conversation I had with Nikon was when I used to shoot on Nikon, and it was like 2017 convo that was like, hey, can we feature your photo? That's what they sent to me. So that's all their messages say, and I was like, yeah, sure. That's all the messages in the DM. So obviously there's nothing, derogatory there for them to block me. So I get this call from this guy. He's like, we can't figure out why we've blocked you. Obviously,
Did they
watch.
unblock you?
Yeah, they unblocked me, and then they followed me.
Wow. What a great form of Nikon publicity for you.
Yeah.
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 So
It's got the marketing
funny.
manager on the phone.
yeah, it's pretty funny. So that's what happened with that.
Look, guys, I appreciate you coming in. I know
No
this
problem.
has been a long one.
No, it's good.
It's good. It's
a lot of
been
stories.
fun.
A lot of stories. Where can people find you guys on the interwebs?
Seventh Era and Northborders.
Northborders. You can just type that in and figure out the
Seventh,
rest.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
you really
figure
want
it
to
out.
find us, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in.
No worries.
been
Thanks for
awesome.
having us.
Thank
actually.
you.
It's been awesome. This is like we've done a few podcasts, like I linked you, but this
Yeah.
is like this setup's hectic. I have to tell my mate about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah. Definitely
Awesome.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
us.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
See ya.
Thank you for making it to the end. Before you run off, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode, or do leave us a rating. For Instagram, go follow us on @uncommon_podcast. For YouTube, search Uncommon Podcast, and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this video. Also give us a like or leave a comment on what you thought about the episode. But until next time, thanks so much for listening.